Stephen Smith just exposed Jordan Addison's money problems.
It's my opinion based on the facts as presented. I'm not getting personal. I'm not deriding or denigrating anybody. I'm just calling it like I see it.
After a DUI arrest, the NFL hit him with major penalties. Sponsors are backing out, legal fees are rising, and bankruptcy rumors are swirling. His coaches are furious.
You know, we're disappointed in Jordan.
And though he's apologized publicly,
I acknowledge that I used poor judgment and I made a really poor decision.
it might be too late to save his career or his wallet. Let me break it down. The reckless road to ruin. When you think about professional athletes going broke, you usually think about gambling, bad investments, or lavish lifestyle choices. But Jordan Addison, this man has found a completely different way to potentially destroy his financial future. And it all starts with his absolutely reckless behavior behind the wheel of luxury vehicles that cost more than most people's houses. We're not talking about a one-time mistake here, folks. We're talking about a pattern of behavior that screams financial irresponsibility and complete disregard for the consequences. And when you're dealing with the kind of money Jordan Addison is dealing with, every single mistake compounds into something that could literally bankrupt his entire future. Let's start from the very beginning, because this story is so wild, so unbelievable, that if I told you it was a movie script, you'd say it was too unrealistic. Jordan Addison was drafted by the Minnesota Vikings in the first round of the 2023 NFL Draft, 23rd overall, and almost immediately after getting his hands on that signing bonus money, this young man went out and made decisions that would make even the most reckless spenders shake their heads in disbelief. The first major incident that should have been a red flag to everyone happened on July 20th, 2023. And I want you to pay close attention to this date because it's crucial to understanding just how quickly this young man started making catastrophic financial decisions. On July 20th, 2023, at approximately 3:07 a.m. Central Time, Addison was pulled over by a Minnesota State Patrol trooper on eastbound Interstate 94 near the Dale Street exit in St. Paul, Minnesota. But here's where it gets absolutely insane. This young man was driving 140 miles per hour in a 55 miles per hour zone. That's 85 miles per hour over the speed limit, folks. And what was he driving? A white Lamborghini Urus SUV that costs over $300,000. That's more money than most families see in 5 years. And this young man is out here treating it like it's a toy on a racetrack. But wait, it gets even more ridiculous. When the officer asked him why he was driving like a maniac at 3 o'clock in the morning, Addison claimed there was an emergency involving his dog at his residence. Now, I love dogs as much as the next person, but driving 140 miles per hour through city streets, that's not love for your pet. That's a complete and total disregard for human life, including your own. This is what he had to say about the incident.
I acknowledge that I used poor judgment and I made a really poor decision that I'll definitely learn from and I'll make sure that it won't happen again.
But did he learn? Oh boy, we're about to find out just how much he didn't learn from this experience. The legal consequences of this first incident included a plea deal where Addison pleaded guilty to a reduced charge of misdemeanor speeding, with the reckless driving charge dismissed, and he was ordered to pay $686 in fines and court fees, plus his driver's license was suspended for 6 months. Now, here's what most people don't understand about the financial implications of this kind of behavior. It's not just about the fines, though $686 might seem like pocket change to an NFL player. It's actually the tip of a massive iceberg. When you're caught driving 85 miles per hour over the speed limit, your insurance premiums don't just go up, they skyrocket. We're talking about potentially tens of thousands of dollars in additional insurance costs per year. And for someone driving vehicles worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, those insurance costs can easily reach 6 figures annually. But here's where the story takes a turn that's so shocking, so absolutely mind-boggling, that it proves Jordan Addison learned absolutely nothing from his first catastrophic mistake. Fast forward exactly 1 year later, and this young man finds himself in an even more compromising situation. On July 12, 2024, Jordan Addison was arrested near Los Angeles International Airport on suspicion of driving under the influence. But the circumstances of this arrest are so egregious, so completely irresponsible, that it boggles the mind how someone with so much to lose could make such catastrophically poor decisions. California Highway Patrol officers found Addison asleep behind the wheel of a white Rolls-Royce luxury vehicle, which was obstructing the #1 lane of the freeway. Let me paint this picture for you. This young man was so intoxicated that he literally fell asleep while driving, and his vehicle was blocking an entire lane of traffic on one of the busiest freeways in America. The financial implications of this are staggering. We're not just talking about a Rolls-Royce here. We're talking about a vehicle that costs between $350,000 and $400,000. But the cost of the vehicle pales in comparison to the potential financial devastation that this single incident could unleash upon his entire career and financial future. This incident occurred just 6 days after Vikings Vikings rookie cornerback Kyrie Jackson was killed in a multi-vehicle crash in Maryland, where the other driver was allegedly impaired by alcohol and traveling at high speed. The timing of Addison's arrest, coming so soon after losing a teammate to drunk driving, made the situation even more shocking and inexcusable. Here's what his coach had to say about Addison's arrest.
Yeah, of course, we're disappointed in Jordan for, we care about these players, and we really do, and we want to make sure we're doing our part, for the development on the field, and the other aspect of that is the off the field and the life skills.
The legal proceedings that followed this arrest revealed just how serious the financial implications really are. On July 31st, 2024, Addison was formally charged by the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office with 2 misdemeanor counts: driving under the influence of alcohol and driving with a blood alcohol content of 0.08% or higher. Now, here's where most people don't understand the true financial cost of these kinds of charges. If convicted on both counts, Addison faced potential penalties including up to 6 months in jail, fines up to $2,000, a 6-month driver's license suspension, mandatory DUI education programs, and possible vehicle impoundment. But that's just the beginning of the financial nightmare. DUI convictions carry massive insurance implications that can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars over time. For someone driving vehicles worth more than most people's annual salaries, a DUI conviction can make it virtually impossible to obtain affordable insurance coverage. The legal proceedings dragged on for months, creating uncertainty and stress that could affect his on-field performance and marketability. The case proceeded through multiple pre-trial hearings from January to April 2025, with delays due to court backlogs and ongoing negotiations between prosecutors and defense. Finally, on July 17, 2025, Addison resolved the case by pleading no contest to a reduced misdemeanor charge of reckless driving, commonly known as a wet reckless plea. While this was better than a full DUI conviction, it still carries significant financial consequences. The plea deal resulted in 12 months of probation, a $390 fine, and completion of 2 online courses. But again, the direct costs are just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the long-term financial implications. And according to the young star, the whole incident and the publicity around it had taken a toll on him.
Everybody gonna have some questions about, what happened a few weeks ago. If I was y'all, I would too, but I was told by my attorney and my agent that I couldn't really answer too many questions on it. But I'm just blessed to be here in front of you guys. This is probably the most peace I felt just being out here with my teammates.
But here's the part that should terrify every NFL player and their financial advisors. The NFL is not done with Jordan Addison. Despite the reduced charge, the NFL is expected to impose discipline under its personal conduct policy, with precedents for similar cases typically resulting in a 3-game suspension without pay. And this is where we start to see the true financial catastrophe that these traffic violations have created. Because when we break down the numbers, you're going to see exactly how much money Jordan Addison stands to lose, and it's going to shock you to your core. The Million-Dollar Meltdown. Now that we've established the pattern of reckless behavior that has defined Jordan Addison's short NFL career, let's dive deep into the financial devastation that these decisions are creating. And when I show you these numbers, when I break down exactly how much money this young man stands to lose, you're going to understand why Stephen Smith and others in the media are starting to pay attention to what could become one of the most preventable financial disasters in recent NFL history. Let's start with the basics, because most people don't truly understand just how much money we're talking about here. Jordan Addison signed a 4-year rookie contract with the Vikings on May 17, 2023, worth $13,731,736, fully guaranteed at signing. Now, that might sound like an enormous amount of money, and it is, but when you break down the financial implications of his legal troubles, you start to see how quickly that money can disappear. A 3-game suspension would cost Addison approximately $266,390 from his 2025 base salary of $1,598,340, which breaks down to about $88,797 per game. That's nearly $90,000 per game that he's going to lose because he couldn't make responsible decisions behind the wheel. But wait, it gets so much worse. The remaining 2 years of his rookie contract include about $4.6 million in guaranteed money, which could be voided entirely due to the violation of conduct clauses. Let me repeat that. $4.6 million in guaranteed money could completely disappear because of these traffic violations. When you add it all up, Jordan Addison stands to forfeit over $88,000 per game missed due to suspension, and the full guarantee on his 2 years, $4.6 million remaining, would void, putting nearly $4.9 million at risk overall. Now let's talk about his spending habits, because this is where the story gets even more shocking. Most people don't realize that Jordan Addison didn't just stumble into expensive cars after getting to the NFL. His relationship with luxury vehicles started back in college, and it reveals a pattern of financial behavior that should have been a red flag from day one. While playing college football at USC, Addison received a Mercedes-Benz S500 through an NIL partnership with the BLVD Collective and Fletcher Jones Motor Cars, USC's official luxury car dealer. This vehicle was worth approximately $120,000, and it was just the beginning of his relationship with high-end automobiles. But here's where the spending gets absolutely insane. Shortly after being drafted by the Vikings in July 2023, Addison acquired a Lamborghini Urus, a high-performance supersport SUV worth over $300,000. Remember, this is the same vehicle he was driving when he got caught going 140 miles per hour in a 55 mile per hour zone. Think about this for a moment. This young man got his signing bonus money and immediately went out and spent $300,000 on a car. That's nearly 20% of his entire rookie year earnings, before taxes, before agent fees, before any other expenses. And what did he do with this incredibly expensive vehicle? He used it to commit traffic violations that could cost him millions of dollars in future earnings. But the spending didn't stop there. In 2024, Addison was associated with a white Rolls-Royce Cullinan SUV worth between $350,000 and $400,000. This is the vehicle he was found sleeping in while blocking traffic on a major freeway near LAX airport. Let's do some quick math here, because the numbers are absolutely staggering. Between the Mercedes-Benz, the Lamborghini Urus, and the Rolls-Royce Cullinan, we're looking at over $770,000 in luxury vehicles. That's more than half of his total career earnings to date, spent on cars that have directly contributed to legal troubles that could cost him millions. But here's what most people don't understand about the true cost of these vehicles. It's not just the purchase price. It's the insurance, the maintenance, the depreciation, and most importantly, the risk. When you're driving vehicles worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you're engaging in reckless behavior, you're not just risking the cost of the vehicle, you're risking your entire financial future. With a rookie contract averaging $3.4 million annually, these vehicle purchases represent a significant portion of his earnings, potentially 10% or more of his annual pay when you factor in the purchase price. But the financial damage goes far beyond just the direct costs. NFL players make money from endorsements, appearance fees, and other off-field opportunities. When you have a pattern of legal troubles, especially ones involving alcohol and reckless driving, sponsors run away faster than Jordan Addison running from police sirens. No endorsements or side businesses are widely reported for Addison, which means he's already missing out on potential income streams that other players of his caliber typically enjoy. Players like Justin Jefferson, who plays the same position for the same team, have multi-million-dollar endorsement deals. Addison's legal troubles have likely cost him similar opportunities. Let's also talk about the hidden costs that most people never consider. Legal fees for fighting DUI charges can easily run $50,000 to $100,000 or more. Addison's legal team is led by attorney Michael A. Sherman of Younger & Associates, and high-profile criminal defense attorneys don't come cheap. Then there are the opportunity costs. While Addison was dealing with legal proceedings, court dates, and the stress of potential criminal conviction, he couldn't focus 100% on his football career. That distraction could cost him performance bonuses, Pro Bowl selections, and ultimately, a more lucrative second contract. Before the NFL, Addison benefited from name, image, and likeness, NIL deals in college, with rumors of a $3 million NIL package when he transferred to USC. This shows that he was already accustomed to having access to large amounts of money before even reaching the professional level, which might explain his cavalier attitude towards spending on luxury items. But here's the most shocking part of this entire financial disaster. Addison's net worth is estimated around $5 to $10 million, largely from his contract. But he's put nearly $5 million of that at risk through his legal troubles. That means he could potentially lose half of his entire net worth because of decisions he made while intoxicated or driving recklessly. The financial pressure doesn't stop there. After taxes, agent fees, typically 3%, and living expenses, his take-home from his $6.6 million in earnings through 2024 is significantly lower. When you factor in the cost of his luxury vehicles, legal fees, increased insurance premiums, and now potential suspension-related losses, you start to see how quickly a multimillionaire can find himself in serious financial trouble. This is exactly the kind of financial irresponsibility that leads to the shocking statistic that 78% of NFL players face serious financial distress within 2 years of retirement. Jordan Jordan Addison is well on his way to becoming another cautionary tale, and he's not even halfway through his rookie contract. But to truly understand how we got to this point, we need to look at Addison's journey to the top, because his rise to NFL stardom makes his potential financial downfall even more tragic. From promise to peril. To truly understand the magnitude of what Jordan Addison is throwing away, we need to examine the incredible journey that brought him to the pinnacle of professional football, and how his off-field decisions are threatening to destroy everything he's worked his entire life to achieve. This isn't just a story about bad financial decisions. This is a story about how someone with unlimited potential can systematically destroy their own legacy through a series of preventable mistakes. Jordan Lee Addison was born on January 27, 2002, in Frederick, Maryland, and from an early age, it was clear that this young man possessed something special. He attended Tuscarora High School, where he excelled as a multi-positional player, lining up at wide receiver, quarterback, and defensive back. The versatility that would later make him such a valuable NFL prospect was evident even in high school. But here's what made Jordan Addison truly special. His numbers were absolutely elite from the very beginning. During his senior season, Addison recorded 25 receptions for 544 yards and 8 touchdowns, averaging 21.8 yards per catch. That's not just good, that's exceptional. An average of nearly 22 yards per reception in high school is the kind of production that gets college scouts salivating. He also competed in track and field, showcasing the kind of athleticism that would later translate to his success at the highest levels of football. This multi-sport background is crucial to understanding why his eventual professional success was so predictable, and why his current legal troubles are so devastating to his long-term potential. When Jordan Addison committed to the University of Pittsburgh, nobody could have predicted the absolute explosion of talent that was about to be unleashed on college football. His freshman year at Pitt was impressive, but it was just a preview of what was to come. As a true freshman in 2020, Addison appeared in 10 games, starting 8, and immediately made his mark by leading the team with 60 receptions for 666 yards and 4 touchdowns. Leading your team in receptions as a true freshman is remarkable, but what happened in his sophomore year was nothing short of legendary. The 2021 season was when Jordan Addison announced himself to the college football world in the most spectacular fashion imaginable. Playing in 14 games, he set a Pitt record with 100 receptions for 1,593 yards and a nation-leading 17 touchdowns. But the individual accolades tell only part of the story. His performance earned him the Fred Biletnikoff Award as the nation's top receiver, consensus All-American honors, and helped Pitt achieve a 10-win season and an ACC championship. This wasn't just a great individual season. This was a season that elevated an entire program and put Jordan Addison on the map as one of the most exciting offensive weapons in college football. The success at Pittsburgh created opportunities that most college players can only dream of. In May 2022, Addison entered the transfer portal amid speculation of NIL deals and transferred to USC. At USC, he was allowed to wear the retired number 3 jersey, previously worn by Carson Palmer, which tells you everything you need to know about the expectations surrounding his arrival. When a program allows a transfer player to wear a retired number, they're making a statement about how special they believe that player to be. His production at USC was impressive, though injuries limited his overall impact. Playing in 11 games and starting all of them, he recorded 59 receptions for 875 yards and 8 touchdowns. While these numbers were excellent, they represented a slight decline from his historic Pitt season, partly due to missing 4 weeks due to an undisclosed injury in October-November 2022. But even with the injury setback, Jordan Addison had established himself as one of the premier wide receiver prospects in college football. His combined college career statistics tell the story of an elite talent. 219 receptions for 3,134 yards and 29 touchdowns in just 35 games. Those are video game numbers, the kind of production that makes NFL scouts lose sleep thinking about what a player could accomplish at the professional level. The Minnesota Vikings selected him in the first round, 23rd overall, making him the 9th wide receiver drafted by the Vikings in the first round. The franchise clearly saw something special in this young man, and they were willing to invest significant draft capital and financial resources to acquire his services. But here's where the story of Jordan Addison's rise becomes even more remarkable, and where his current troubles become even more tragic. His rookie season in the NFL was absolutely spectacular, the kind of debut that suggested a superstar career was inevitable. In his rookie 2023 season, Addison appeared in all 17 games, starting 14, and recorded 70 receptions for 911 yards and 10 touchdowns. These aren't just good rookie numbers, they're historically excellent. He became the 13th rookie in NFL history and only the 5th since 2000 to record at least 900 receiving yards and 10 touchdowns in his rookie season. That puts him in the same company as players like Randy Moss, Odell Beckham Jr., and Jamar Chase, absolute elite company. He earned PFWA All-Rookie Team honors, cementing his status as one of the best rookies in the entire league. For a wide receiver to make that kind of impact in his first season, especially playing alongside established stars like Justin Jefferson, shows just how special his talent really is. But here's what makes his current situation so absolutely heartbreaking. Jordan Addison was on track to become one of the highest paid wide receivers in the NFL. Long-term projections suggested he could command a contract worth $115 million over 5 years if he continued his current trajectory. That's generational wealth, the kind of money that sets up not just him but his children and grandchildren for life. The Vikings hold a 5th-year option for 2027, estimated at $15 to $20 million, which would have been automatic if he had maintained his performance and stayed out of trouble. But now, with his legal issues, that option becomes questionable, and his long-term earning potential has been severely compromised. The trajectory Jordan Addison was on before his legal troubles is the stuff that NFL dreams are made of. Playing alongside Justin Jefferson, one of the best wide receivers in the league, he was part of what could have been one of the most dynamic offensive duos in NFL history. Early training camp reports for 2025 described him as smooth and ready for a breakout season, with clips showing him connecting on deep balls with rookie QB J.J. McCarthy. The potential was unlimited. The talent was undeniable. The opportunity was right there in front of him. And yet, through a series of completely preventable decisions involving alcohol and reckless driving, Jordan Addison has put all of it at risk. This is what makes Stephen Smith's criticism so devastating, because it's not about what Jordan Addison has accomplished, it's about what he's throwing away. Here's a young man who had everything handed to him on a silver platter. Elite talent, perfect opportunity, generational wealth within reach, and he's systematically destroying it all through decisions that a responsible teenager wouldn't make, let alone a professional athlete with millions of dollars at stake. The most tragic part of Jordan Addison's story is that his football talent has never been in question. Our fantasy football projections for 2025 had him expected to score approximately 16 PPR points per game, with upside as a WR 2021 in rankings. That's elite production that reflects just how good he is when he's actually on the field and focused on football. But talent alone isn't enough in the NFL. The league is filled with cautionary tales of players who had all the ability in the world, but couldn't stay out of their own way. What makes Jordan Addison's case so particularly frustrating is that his mistakes are so completely avoidable and so obviously destructive to his long-term interests. The Minnesota Vikings organization has expressed disappointment but continued to support Addison throughout his legal troubles. Head coach Kevin O'Connell has tried to balance accountability with support, but there's only so much an organization can do when a player continues to make the same types of mistakes.
But you wrap your arms around these guys and you ensure that they know that we care, but at the same time they have to hear those messages and they have to understand things that are not things that are going to be acceptable and by any stretch.
The Vikings have been preparing for the possibility that Addison might miss significant time due to suspension. General manager Kwesi Adofo-Mensah has noted the team is building depth, emphasizing players like Jalen Naylor, Ty Felton, and Rondale Moore as possible contributors. This isn't just contingency planning. This is an organization preparing to move forward without a player they invested a first-round pick in, because that player couldn't make responsible decisions off the field. But here's what's most concerning about Jordan Addison's trajectory. There's no indication that he truly understands the magnitude of what he's risking. In recent interviews, he's talked about being prepared for whatever comes regarding NFL discipline, but his focus seems to be on the immediate consequences rather than the long-term implications. Is this the end for the young NFL player? Only time will tell. Meanwhile, if you enjoyed watching this video, click on one of the boxes playing on your screen to watch more similar content.